Hey guys, Surgeon Devil here. How y'all doing today? Uh, gonna be doing a couple of videos today. I'm gonna be uploading a couple of videos here and there. I'm gonna talk about yesterday. Yesterday was Patriots Day or 9/11. So a lot of you teenagers are probably just learning about it when someone like me actually lived in it or during it, I should say. Um, and the reason I say lived during it and in it really is because no, live that far away from DC. Sure as hell didn't live that far away from the Pentagon. Um, when 9/11 started, let's see. News of the hijack never really didn't hit us until we found out the first plane hit. Um, and that was about 8:46 a.m. that morning. And when that plane hit, I was in high school, I was a freshman, um, and I was just finishing. Sorry, I was just finishing up gym class, I do believe. Yeah. Um, Then I got to my graphics design class and found out like 9:05 and then like 9:15 something like that the second thing it did. Emails and news breaks were coming across the teacher, and then about 9:15, at the time we found out that the principal came over the intercom stating that the school was on lockdown. From now, lockdown usually means no one goes in, no one goes out without strict permission. Um, we had police surrounding our school. Every school in the area was being surrounded by, National Guard, police, rescue. The reason why, if you look out the window, you can see the smoke from the Pentagon. It was pretty crazy. And there was a couple planes flying above head, and it was freaking everybody out. And no one knew what to really think about the situation. Um, like when we went to, we finished up that class with the Spanish class. Um, no, what Spanish class was? Social studies. Sorry. I was sitting in there, and a girl that sits beside me, she looks at me. She grabs my hand. She goes, "I don't want to die." I'm like, "You're not gonna die. You're good." And um, we're sitting there, trying to comfort one another. A couple of kids, their parents, or one of their parents worked at the Pentagon. Try to console them until, I think one of the counselors came, pulled them out of class, and they found out that their parents were okay, that their parents were headed home. About noon, they sent us home. They closed the school down for the rest of the week. Um, when I got home, uh, my mom and my aunt were still at work. So I was sitting at home, kind of, I didn't know what to think. I got like the really weird, like adrenaline rush feeling, like, oh, what the hell am I going to do? So I started getting knives together and stuff like that. I turned on the TV and saw this shit going on the TV. But I tried to call my mom, couldn't get out. And Monday said you couldn't make a phone call that day, at least on the East Coast. I know for sure you couldn't. I was calling from landline to landline. I wasn't calling from a cell to a landline. So, um, so I finally got in touch with my mom, and she said, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good. I'm home. They sent us home. They closed school out for the rest of the week." She goes, "Yeah, I heard about that." She goes, what do you want for dinner? I'm gonna go. She worked at a deli, a hot and cold deli, and told her what I wanted. You know, about an hour or two later, they showed up and said, well, they went ahead and evacuated where they worked at because where they worked at was in an industrial yard, um, chemical plant and stuff like that. Yeah, good terror. I guess a good terrorist target. So what they did is they sent them home. They evacuated them, and I don't know. I wasn't really big on TV then. I'm not big on TV now. Um, but then I was like, you know what? Really don't watch about this stuff. So we had Super Nintendo at the time, so play some Mario and call it a day. So, curl up, change my clothes out of my school clothes, put some basketball shorts and a hoodie on. Big surprise. That's what I'm wearing now. And started playing Nintendo, man. Then we had internet. It was the cable internet. It was like right when it started coming out, so it was like kind of buggy, but it was like a hell of a lot faster than iOS. So I asked my aunt if I got on the computer, got on AOL, and all my friends from school were on there talking about this stuff. They just started a chat room. I went into the chat room. We're sitting there all just talking and everything, and I found out one of my friend's parents had died at the Pentagon, which was pretty fucked up. I lost 2 family members. I didn't know about it until a couple days later when we found out one of my cousins was a jumper and another one was part of when the plane hit the building. So, like the second building when it got hit, they were, I guess, right at or right above or below, and it killed him, I guess. That's what we were told. Can't really want it, but just to think that I lost 2 family members during the attacks, it lives with me. It really does. That day always lives in my head. I always read about it. I'll watch videos of it. I'll study it. Even the conspiracy theory stuff, it was an inside job, which a lot of people think that means sometimes they do, sometimes they do, whatever. And the aftermath of that was schools were closed, at least in my area, and I know in New York, and I know in D.C., and I know in a lot of like half of Virginia, schools were closed down. Then I remember reading about the planes being grounded. Was for the first time in history. If it was not a fighter jet or a military plane, it was not in the air. All commercial liners were in either Canada, Mexico, the United States, or they weren't allowed to enter the United States airspace. And, I started watching the TV stuff later that evening, and I was just like, you had Rudy Giuliani, you had the president, you had Colin Powell, you had like the big military and government officials on TV talking about this stuff happening. And then George Bush, I watched the day he declared war on it. I watched SmackDown that week when Vince McMahon made that beautiful speech, and how everyone just came together. We had the invasion thing going at the time, and everybody was one. It was the WWF. Everybody was part of the same family. And then and what was scary is I felt bad for some of the guys because you had some wrestlers that were from New York. You had Bubba Ray Dudley, you had Taz, you had a couple of the wrestlers that lived either near or really around the World Trade Center, or they had family, and you could just tell the genuine concern. But that day, but 9/11, it really opened up the book and that we can get along. Blacks weren't against whites, whites weren't against blacks, no one was against Mexicans, Asians, and all like that. But in return, it turned everybody against Middle Easterns. And, like I remember watching one video or documentary about this mosque getting a phone call saying they're going to blow them up, they're going to kill them, they're going to chop them up. It's like, what the fuck, they didn't do it. So, and then, just the aftermath of that, the anthrax shit, especially around the East Coast and stuff, DC, anywhere around DC and Alexandria, where the Pentagon was, or anything in New York, some of the major cities on the East Coast, and then some of the stuff was going towards the West Coast at the time. Some was going to Texas. Some was there was one. I think there was one terrorist threat that was in Iowa, I think it was, or something. West Virginia was a terrorist threat because of there's a Napa chemical plant that helps make explosives. So, and even Huntington, because of special metals, they make the special uh, casings for bombs and stuff here. Sometimes. Sorry, checking my phone. But it was. Then me and my friends were like, "Yeah, we're gonna gear up and be ready to come and do this shit again." Blah blah blah. And in reality, it was just a way for us to cope with the fact that we got hit. You know, you hear about all these other countries getting bombed and shit nowadays, and then we got hit on American soil on the mainland. You have Pearl Harbor, and that was just as bad. But you have Pearl Harbor, you know, and it's like, you know, 9/11 happened, and it's like, then you hear about Osama bin Laden. Osama bin Laden takes credit for it. These people take credit for it. These people take credit for it. Never wanted to war with Iraq for no reason. So, trying to get weapons of mass destruction. We're talking about weapons of mass destruction. Okay? And it was retarded, man. It really was. I'm sorry to say retarded. It was stupid. It really was. It was stupid. It was, well, you know, and then 10 years later, Osama bin Laden was killed, supposedly. Uh, it's like one of those. You look at 9/11, there's the conspiracy theories that it was an inside job. Because everything points to it being an inside job. But we're sitting there playing, oh, it wasn't planes, it wasn't planes, it wasn't planes. When you watch the amateur footage and you clearly see a plane or a plane-like object hit the building. It could have been a bomb. Who knows? Um, but that day was a clusterfuck, man. It really was. I was a freshman in high school, and my mom and my aunt were not freaking out. I wasn't freaking out, so I quit freaking out after that. After I watched them, because a lot of time I'll base my emotion off how they would react toward the situation. Nowadays, I'm the one who usually keeps a cool head, chills out, and everything like that. So it pays. Well, that's my video for 9/11. Um, no, it probably wasn't spectacular like everybody wants it to be, but it was my story. So don't forget to like, share, favorite, all that fun shit. And with everything done, remember, you always rock on. Love you guys.